Good afternoon, guys. Nadia here again with another reading from Truth Scriptures Ta'anek. We're up to Barashiyt, its own name, Genesis chapter 38. It came to be during that time that Yehuda left his brothers and went to stay with a certain Adulami, whose name was Hira. Yehuda saw the daughter of a certain Canaanite, whose name was Shua, and he took her and slept with her. She conceived and gave birth to a son, and he called the name She conceived again and gave birth to a son, and she called his name Alnan, I think. She yet again gave birth to another son, and she called his name Shalaha. She was in Kazib when she gave birth to him. Then Yehuda took a wife for his firstborn, and her name was Tamar. But Yehuda's firstborn, was wicked in the sight of Yahuwah, and Yahuwah took his life. So Yahuwah said to Anan, "Go to your brother's wife and perform the duty of a husband's brother, and raise up an heir for your brother." However, Anan knew that the offspring would not be his. It came to be when he slept with his brother's wife that he spilled his sperm on the ground so he would not give an offspring to his brother. But the thing he did was evil in the sight of Yahuwah, and Yahuwah took his life also. Then Yehuda said to Tamar, his daughter-in-law, "Remain a widow in your father's house until my son Shalaha is grown up," he said. "He may die too, just like his brothers did." So Tamar went and lived in her father's house. Over the course of time, Shua's daughter, the wife of Yehuda, died. Then when Yehuda had recovered from grieving, he went up to his sheep shearers in Tamana. His friend Hira, the Adulami, went with him. It was reported to Tamar, saying, "See, your father-in-law is going up to Tamana to shear his sheep." Then she took off her widow's clothes, covered herself with her veil, wrapped herself, and sat at the gate at Einim, which is on the way to Tamana. She saw that Shalaha had grown up, but she was not yet given to him to be his wife. When Yehuda saw her, he thought she was a harlot because she had covered her face. He turned to her on the way and said, "Please let me sleep with you," because he did not know that she was his daughter-in-law. She said to him, "What will you give me in order to sleep with me?" He said, "I will send you a fat goat from the flock." Then she said, "Will you give me a pledge until you send it?" Then he said, "What pledge should I give you?" She said, "Your seal, your cord, and your staff that is in your hand." So he gave them to her, slept with her, and she became pregnant by him. Then she got up and went away. She took off her veil and put back on the widow's clothes. Yehuda sent the young goat by the way of his friend, the Adulami, to receive back the pledge he had given to the woman, but he did not find her. Then he asked the men of that place, saying, Where is the prostitute who was along the way to Anim? And they said, There has not been a prostitute here. So he returned to Yehuda and said, I did not find her. Also the men of that place said, There has not been a prostitute here. Then Yehuda said, Let her keep them. We do not want to be put to shame. See, I sent this young goat, but you have not found her. About 3 new moons afterward, it came to be that it was informed to Yehuda, saying, Tamar, your daughter-in-law, has prostituted, and moreover she became pregnant by prostitution. Yehuda said, Bring her here and let her be burned. When she was brought forth, she sent word to her father-in-law, saying, By the man whom these belong, I am pregnant with his child. She said, Please examine who these belong to, the seal and the cords and the staff. Yehuda acknowledged them and said, She is more righteous than I, because I did not give her to my son, Shalaha. And he never saw her again. It came to be at the time of giving birth that twins were in her womb. As she was giving birth, giving birth, one put out his hand. The midwife took a scarlet thread and wrapped it around his hand, saying, This one came out first. It came to be as he pulled back his hand that his brother came out first. She said, How did you break through and make a breach for yourself? Therefore his name was called Peretz. Afterwards his brother came out, who had the scarlet thread around his hand. His name was Zeraha.